What is it that God has given you right now that maybe we're shrinking back from ownership of because the way that we see the blessing that God has given us has changed and maybe shifted to a negative perspective? What I mean is, what is it that you're stewarding right now that you're not doing well stewarding? What is it that you need to be taking ownership right now that you might be not taking the ownership because the situation is too bleak or seems like a bad situation and maybe you don't see where your own ownership is even needed? So step one, let's look to see, what is it that God has given you? What has He given you stewardship of? What has He given you ownership of? Is it a relationship? Is it a spouse? Is it children? Is it a possession? Is it a house? Is it a car? Is it a job, an occupation, a workspace? Is it friends? Is it certain relationships? What is it that He's given you stewardship over right now? And in what ways can we do better? Can we look at and say, okay, maybe I'm not taking enough ownership in this one situation. Maybe something's gone wrong in one of your relationships, and we're not taking enough ownership. I don't mean that we're not saying, oh, the problem's all me, and acting like other people aren't a part of a problem too. I mean deciding that the solution can start with you and you pushing others towards the solution by your own ownership. So what is it right now that you're not acknowledging as a blessing, and therefore it's not growing into what it should be because we're still kind of turning our faces away from it? God calls us to be good stewards of everything that He gives us. And maybe it's something as simple as He's given you time. Today, He's given you 24 hours. What are you going to do with those 24 hours? What difference are you going to make in those 24 hours? What is it that He's given you complete ownership over, and you aren't taking ownership of it? Instead, you might be giving into your fear or being scared or taking ownership of the good things, but the things that don't feel good, we kind of close our eyes to a little bit. What is it that we can step up to the plate and look and say, okay, this situation, good, bad, however I perceive it, if I perceive it like a burden or if I perceive it like a blessing, either way, I know that it's good. I know that it's good, and I know that there's more ownership in the situation than I often take. How can I look at it and how can I make a difference? How can I make a difference with the time and the day and the blessings that God has given me right this very minute?